Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ranking Member McCaskill. I first want to thank the witnesses for highlighting the need to reform the Lifeline program in order to curb the waste, fraud, and abuse. I can't even think how many times I've used the words waste, fraud, and abuse as it relates to programs in the federal government, and I applaud your efforts in doing this. And Mr. Chairman as well, thank you for your leadership here as taxpayers. I also appreciate the leadership we've seen from Chairman Pai and the reforms the FCC has already made to the program. It's a very good start. Chairman Pai, you often speak of closing this digital divide. This is an important goal, but I want to also add one more part, which is probably closing the rural-urban divide as well, closing that rural gap. I see so often here decisions in government focus on the needs of population centers, and I understand that rationale, but sometimes forget states like Montana that have a very strong rural thread that runs through it, and I know you grew up that way in Kansas. A decision or a solution that might make sense and work in San Francisco may not work and probably won't work in a place like Ritchie, Montana. We're seeing a broadband explosion across the U.S. However, it is confined more to cities and to urban areas. Free Wi-Fi can be found in coffee shops, bookstores, and now even whole cities are adopting into municipal Wi-Fi systems. While they're thinking about going from 4G to 5G, we still haven't found the alphabet sometimes in parts of Montana. However, with each new expansion in our major cities, rural states are left with nothing. In fact, I just saw a Brookings Institute study that showed 1 in 4 rural residents do not have access to broadband. And, you know, as a Westerner, I sometimes when I come back here, back east, there's kind of this highbrow mentality on the East Coast, where you grew up, where you went to school. I can tell you, the folks out in rural America are sophisticated, as well educated, and have, frankly, more common sense than most in this nation. Compared now to 0.6%, 0.6% of those living in cities. So 1 in 4 in rural areas don't have access, 0.6% in the cities. This rural gap hurts Montana, it hurts rural states, where we lack access to even the most basic forms of broadband communication. As you know, I was part of building a world-class cloud computing company headquartered in Montana that Oracle later acquired. That product sets in 33 different languages. In fact, Oracle took our cloud expertise and elevated that to lead the entire Oracle cloud, the 7th largest cloud computing company in the world. And they took a Montana expertise here, elevated to the world. Chairman Pai, how can we reform Lifeline and other USF programs to focus on those who have nothing before upgrading those who already have good access?
Senator, thanks for the question, and you put your finger on the central problem that we're discussing today, which is that by definition, a dollar that goes to somebody who doesn't need the help is a dollar denied from someone who does. And that is the core of this FCC's mission in terms of closing the digital divide, is ensuring that scarce federal dollars are devoted to where they are absolutely needed. And in the Lifeline context, that means that we weed out the waste, fraud, and abuse, the dead subscribers who are getting Lifeline benefits, the 137 million or more annually that GAO pointed out that's wasted. We need to make sure that those dollars are directed to the people who are on the wrong side of the divide, who need the help, to make sure that they have a chance to participate in the digital economy just like the folks in bigger cities.
Yeah, and as we've said, technology now has removed geography as a constraint, where some of our best and brightest who bring incredible capacities to the workforce, but have been disconnected because of this divide. And this is closing it. And as a nation, as we think going forward here of bringing not only their competencies professionally and to this 21st century economy, they bring a work ethic that is exceptional. When you get raised, getting up early here, having to take care of what needs to be done, you're up early. I was struck the other day, some farmers and ranchers came here to the office, and they're struck by the fact that DC doesn't start till about 9 o'clock in the morning oftentimes. And I remind them, I said, they do stay here late, but it's like they reminded me in the Montana legislature, their hearings start at 8 a.m. that'd be unheard of here in Washington, D.C. But the point is, you've got a strong work ethic, and you've got this great workforce here that's ready to engage in this global economy. I want to shift gears here to the national verifier. One of the solutions GAO has proposed and that the FCC has already taken action on is the national verifier. While no solutions are ever perfect, I think this is a step in the right direction, reducing the waste, fraud, and abuse. There, I said it again. Mr. Chairman, could you outline the status of the national verifier program and some of the benefits and shortfalls? And second part of this question would be, how will this program work in a state like Montana, where many of these rural customers don't have access to the broadband needed to even sign up, or may have other difficulties that arise from living a long ways from town?
Sure, Senator. So in terms of the status, we are working actively with USAC, and I'm sure Ms. Robinson could also give you an update, but we are on track to roll out the national verifier in 6 states by the end of this year, a couple dozen more by the end of 2018, and then full national implementation by the end of 2019. That's certainly our goal, and we're actively working with all relevant jurisdictions, including states like Montana, to make sure that we have a chance to integrate the data that they've got into that verifier. And I also should add, by the way, that the National Verifier is an important tool with respect to Lifeline in terms of eligibility. It's not the only tool. So there are other administrative actions that the FCC needs to take and USAC on our behalf can take, as well as potential programmatic changes that could help stop this problem. So eligibility is important, but there are other tools in the toolbox that we need to consider as well.
Ms. Robinson, well, I'm running out of time. Ms. Robinson, I'm just reading lots of body language here. That you've got some things to share here. So the USAC view, I've got a limited time, but I'd like your thoughts as well, please.
I'm happy to add a little bit of some additional detail
Yeah.
around the status of the National Verifier. We're very passionate about that, and
Yeah.
we think it'll be a great tool.
Yep.
Your state is one of the 6 states that will be included in the initial launch of the 6 states. I'm happy to report again, or to reiterate that currently we're running on budget and to be on time. We're projecting to have our soft launch of the National Verifier in December of this year, going with the 6 states, including Montana. And we also have secured an agreement with HUD to have federal matching of eligibility for using federal housing information. And we're targeting our hard launch in March of 2018. So things are moving along great. Of course, there have been some challenges in terms of we have to deal with various privacy issues and things of that nature when dealing with, looking to deal with states, but they are not insurmountable. And we also recognize that there won't necessarily be matching in all of the states, and we're moving along with this, with the understanding that we'll have a combination of matching with states, federal databases, but also some manual use. I can give you information on costs if you'd like that as well, Senator.
I'm out of time, so I'll respect the chairman's, but we will follow up with you on that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for including Montana. And I think,
Absolutely.
if you get a chance to come out there, you're going to find you meet some great folks out there that'll be very excited about moving forward. So
We're
thank you.
excited about that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.